She was 20 yards in front of me, and I was lagging way behind her. And I was trying to pump myself up to do it. I don't even think I really thought anything. It was just, do it now. And I did it.
Evidence showed Holmes had stabbed his mother numerous times during a walk. Later, he came home to clean up the blood in the house and made phone calls to friends.
Whether it would have been a woman or a man, it didn't matter to us. We just had to kill somebody.
28-year-old Francois was savagely beaten to death. Her co-worker, Donna Ream, barely escaped with her life.
I always wanted to be badass. I always wanted to be around the people that were baddest. I wanted that respect.
The shooter fired 2 rounds from a sawed-off shotgun into the small crowd. 20-year-old Aaron was shot and killed. The gunman also murdered 17-year-old Tony Sanders.
Killed 2 young men. And if he gets rehabilitated, I think it'll be a miracle.
Beautiful, healthy baby boy. I am lying here in bed, very tired, with Dominic right smack next to me. He has been restless all day, only peaceful and happy when he is sucking on my breast. After hours of that, he is sleeping on and off now, and oh, so beautiful, and tender, and mine.
When I look in somebody's eyes, I look for something behind them, emotion, expression, and there wasn't any. I mean, he just stared at you, and they were cold. I brought him into my office, and I talked to him for a while, and when he left, I wasn't very hopeful.
You didn't share anything about how crazy you were getting about your mom, how you felt about her. You wall yourself off until stuff drives you nuts. I mean, that's why your mom's dead.
Where you start is you just start talking to them about their family, about their upbringing, about things in their past. You try to get some clues out of there.
I am never lonely or bored with this special child in my life. This weekend was exceptional. We hardly left the house or spent a dime, and yet we experienced so much. He asks for a hug, waves in about 5 different ways, and throws a kiss. What a magical gift.
If you could talk directly to her right this minute, what would you say?
You know, how messed up I am and how much I miss her, and...
What would you tell her if she asked you why?
I hated her.
It doesn't go together.
What did you hate about her? The things that she did or what?
You won't understand.
Why not? Well,
Because he didn't go through it for all that time. I mean, if I told you, it sounds like stupid stuff.
Except for self-defense, there is no reason for taking a human life. I mean, there's no such thing as a good reason.
I came home from work tonight and discovered under my covers a present from Dominic. 2 drawings, one of a fish, the other a bird, and an envelope with a heart colored on it. He's become very interested in writing my name, which he did on the card. I love my name when he writes it. The Oregon State Fair. We arrived late on a cool summer evening and fell into the food. We rode the swings, the parachutes, the bumper cars, and haunted house, holding hands, mom and son.
She was a very giving woman, a very religious woman. She spent a lot of time with him. She did all kinds of things with him. And I think as a child, they were very close.
June 1988. My precious son is a bit sad about his mommy getting a full-time job. I will need to find good childcare for him. Sometimes I wish I had a man to help me through the rough times and to give him even more attention than I'm giving him. September 27th, Dairy Queen, 8 p.m. Meet Mark Clemmer, Big Brother program.
The first time we met, I remember looking across at him thinking, you know, who is this guy and how come he wants to be friends with me? I never knew my real dad, and so when Mark came into my life, I was just kind of like, wasn't sure what was supposed to happen, so I just trusted him and letting me know what was supposed to be healthy and, what was supposed to be real. He used to take me out on the back country roads on his motorcycle, and we'd be going 50 or 60, and I'd be in the front driving, and he'd just be holding on to me. It'd be crazy. All I had was fun when I was around him. It was the best friendship I ever had.
He was very masterful in how he set this young man up. This man was letting him do things that weren't legal. He was giving he and his friends beer. He was showing them hardcore porn.
The reason she stopped it was we went to a drive-in movie, and...
You and Mark?
Yeah, my mom, and...
Mom? Your mom went along?
Yeah. He has a big convertible, and he insisted that he wanted to sit by me. And so my mom moved so he could come and sit by me, and he put his arm around me and stuff. And it was getting too close to me. And she said it made her sick to see him do that. And so she didn't want me to be around him anymore.
Dominic, all I ever wanted you for was a boy to fuck. I only took you places and did things with you as a means to get you into your pants. It pissed me off when it took so long to get you to a point where I could molest you. I even got the chance to suck your dick twice while you were sleeping. I would jack myself off while doing this, wishing it was you jacking me off. That's what I really wanted, for you to masturbate me, suck me off, fuck me in the ass, and for me to do all those things to you. I loved taking you swimming for the fact that I could view your naked body. I would think of me sucking on your little wee-wee until you came in my mouth. But the fact that never happened just meant that I had to go find other boys to suck off. Thanks for introducing me to your friends. Mark died in that room when I read that letter. The Mark that Dominic was trying to hold on to. And the only one left was the real one.
It crushed me. I mean, I couldn't believe it. This guy that was supposed to be my best friend for all this time, was just a piece of shit sex offender just trying to get something from me. I think the worst thing was creating all these secrets drew my mom and I apart because I was hiding all this stuff from her. It was kind of where this whole thing started between my mom and I.
Why was Mark in our life? Never again. I will now make wise choices as to who is in our life. Friday night, Dominic is whining about me, how he hates to come home because I just tell about how he doesn't do anything right, and I'm boring, and I don't do anything, and I just tell him to do chores. He was rude and disrespectful. I can't sleep. For the first time in my life, at the age of 30, I desperately would love to share my life with a man. Dominic also, for the first time, expresses his desire for a father, more so than ever before. Before dinner, he says, "I wish I had a dad. I want to talk about sports with him." March 30th, 1990. Blind date. Eric Rick Holmes. 40-ish, fisherman, southern drawl, private guy, law professor.
I was pretty excited when Rick started going into our lives. My mom always talked about if she's ever gonna get married and wondering, what kind of guy that she'd end up meeting and if he was the right one, and she talked about that a lot. And so when she finally met this guy, you know, it was pretty exciting because it seemed like this is what she was looking for. I thought things were gonna get better, and they got married. They did get better. We traveled. Every summer we'd go to a different place, which was a lot of fun. My best memory, Rick, was when we'd go golfing. And just kind of, we'd be out there and just talk and be away from everything else. I liked the guy at first, but that only lasted for a while.
Our honeymoon. Most of it was spent with Rick drunk in bed, vomiting and urinating, and me cleaning it up. My birthday. Rick drunk and sick. Rick at work lied about drinking. 24 cans hidden in garage.
I'd find his beer that he's hiding, and I'd take it and I'd empty it out, and so he'd have to find another hiding spot, and then after a while, I started taking his beer and drinking it myself.
Rick lay in bed drunk. We argue when I get home. I stay home today. Rick drinks 12 more. He says he drinks because of me. He calls me a bitch. Says I'm controlling. I tear up all love notes.
It was kind of like a battle between him and her. She'd try to tell me all this bad stuff about him, and then he'd take me out and talk shit about her and buy me all this stuff. He'd make jokes about her and talk about how stupid she was, and then I started feeding into it. Rick and I both kind of turned our backs on her.
Dominic's birthday. I come home from Beaverton and find Rick drunk and the house trashed. I feel hopeless. Say I want a divorce.
I was at camp in California, and my mom called the camp and told me that when I come home, we're gonna be living somewhere else. And she said Rick had destroyed the house, and she was saying that he would have killed her if she would have been there. Rick had knifed up her side of the bed and knifed her out of all the pictures in the house. We had a whole bunch of really expensive antique furniture, and he sawed all of it up, stabbed the TV with a screwdriver, and basically just destroyed everything in the house. I was really scared. We never saw him after that because we got a restraining order on him.
I feel exhausted, ready to blow a fuse with this mess. My divorce and Rick is ugly. I am deeply sad and crying. My son and I argue so much. I feel pain and depression. He's difficult and rebellious. His eyes show the pain and grief of our fights. I love him dearly. I don't want to burden him with my troubles, but I do. I dump my frustrations on this sweet child sitting in the living room.
I just wanted to break free somehow. It was too hard for me to talk about it, and I didn't think people would understand. It was kind of, I felt like I was on my own.
The biggest tragedy is that he was afraid to tell anybody, to talk to people about what he was going through, about his depression. This built up over years. I mean, just built up and up and up and up and up. I think that night that he did it, it just all spilled out.
He acts so angry. I think he feels powerless to all the bad things in his life. Me, Mark, and Rick. He was yelling, "I hate you, and I hate coming home." He hit the world globe, and it went flying and crashed and broke. I was fearful of what he'd do next.
It was about 4 or 5 days before I actually killed her. It was the first time I seriously thought about it. We were at the beach. I remember this big sand dune. She'd walked up and she was walking back down. I was looking at her and I was thinking, I started thinking about it. I pictured in my head after she was gone that I wouldn't have to deal with her, I wouldn't have to deal with Rick. I felt like there were weird thoughts that I was having. Then a few days later, I just came up with the idea that I was gonna go on a walk with her and take this knife that was in the kitchen. I guess I thought it was just gonna be like in the movies. I could just go on a walk and I'd pull out a knife, stab her, and I didn't think past that point. Before we went on the walk, I remember we were in the living room and it was dark, I was sitting on the couch waiting for her, and she came in and she said, "I want to talk to you first." And she came and sat down, and she was like, "You know, there's something going on." And she said, "You know, I feel like something's not right." And she said she feels scared. She's scared of me for some reason. And she started crying and said that she wishes all the stuff that was going on wasn't happening and that we didn't have to go through all of it. She said, "You know, come over and give me a hug." And I was like, I didn't want to. And she kept saying, "You know, come here and give me a hug." And so I went over and I just stood there and she hugged me. She walked outside and looked over and saw my window that I'd sneak out of every night, and I'd cut the screen out. And she found that and started yelling at me, and she said, "You owe me $5 for that." And I was kind of like, "Well, fine with me, because you're not going to be coming back from the walk tonight."
I want all of these young men to realize what they've done for the rest of their lives. I don't ever want them to be able to forget it. I don't want them to be able to push it out and say, you know, well, that was then, now's now. I want them to vividly be able to recall what they did.
Sometimes I still wish that the lady who lived was dead.
Why is that?
Because the pain and, you know, everything, it's just, it seems like a person would have more peace if they were dead. She was hit maybe about 50 times in the head with metal bars. Her forearms were pretty much smashed. She had puncture wounds in her hands. They tried to ram the bar in her mouth.
So you think she went through all that just to die?
I don't know if it would have been better for her.
For her or for you?
If she would have been killed, would you guys have been caught or not?
Well, maybe we would have got off.
I'm not picking up real remorse from you, Dan.
I'm not sure I have much.
Three men walked into this Eugene Dairy Mart store and murdered one of the clerks. They beat the other female clerk so badly she barely lived to tell about it. One of the other defendants testified that Rabago told him Satan gave him the power to ignore his parents and they could not mess with him or they would not survive.
You wanted this to happen. You planned it. You pumped them up to do it. How'd you get someone else to do it?
I knew if I put the thought in their heads and pumped them up for it, that they'd do it.
What did this pipe look like?
It was about that long. It was pointy at the end, had a bigger metal piece.
You made it. And you knew that she's getting beaten with it, and you can hear the sound of it.
It's gotta make you feel sick.
What does that feel like inside you?
Satisfaction.
One more time, Dan. What goes through your insides? What goes through your heart when you think about that steel pipe hitting her head? I'm asking you right now, man. What does it feel like inside you when that pipe's hitting her head? Come on, what does that feel like? What do you feel like about for her?
I can't reach it. I don't know how.
What did you say when you got out of the car, Dan? What is it, blood tonight, my brothers? Is that what you said? There'll be blood tonight, my brothers? Trying to imagine the blood that splattered all over that room each time her head was hit. Just spraying out on the wall. Oh, I know what I did. I beat that fucking bitch's skull in, man. You should have seen the fucking blood was everywhere. It was so beautiful. You fucking proud of that, motherfucker? Fucking am proud of that. I'm real proud of that, man. That was the fucking highlight of my life so far. I'm gonna do it again the first chance I get. wait to fucking waste some bitch's fucking face all over the wall. Well, fuck you! Fuck you! I'm gonna eat it hard and then I'm gonna blood from fuck you!
I've never felt that Dan had much emotion for his victims. We have walked him through it time after time after time, and I don't think it's because Dan doesn't want to be better. I think it's because he just doesn't know how to feel.
I have this TV ad running through my head over and over and over. Is it real or is it Matrix?
I don't understand what that means.
It means that I think that you're fake and phony, Dan. It means that I think that you're fake and phony, disconnected from people.
That's not the case. I was fucking holding you here and your heart was not fucking beating. It was slow and calm.
I grabbed my son's hands. I said, your mom is dead. Some bad men took her. He turned around and said, don't cry, Daddy. I don't like to see you cry. He never shed a tear for almost a year and a half. He never cried. Little boys. And I'm not going to have anybody beat any of us up anymore. Should a 5-year-old boy feel this anger? Whatever happened in that store must be going through your mind over and over again every day. You got a chance. You got another chance. This is hard because my wife never had that chance to raise her kids. I'd shake your hand, but I can't bear to do that. But I can say, may God shake your hand someday.
The shooter fired 2 rounds from a sawed-off shotgun into the small crowd. The suspect, 15-year-old Willie Johnson Jr., is on probation for previous offenses.
So, Willie, the main message was for you to start thinking about what you did and start remembering who you killed and think real hard about them. Have you been doing that? Because it ends up being a whole bunch of people's fault and not yours, that 2 people are dead and 3 wounded.
I know I am responsible for it. I know that.
How do you feel about it, Willie?
There's all kinds of mixed feelings. I haven't got through them all.
What are some of the feelings?
Mad, sometimes.
Mad at who?
Me. Sometimes mad at them.
You aren't thinking about what their parents are going to go through every birthday, every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, everything, you know, forever. I tried to get some crime scene pictures, you know, to show you what you'd actually done, and they wouldn't give them to me, which is really kind of too bad because you need to see the results of your decision before you're going to understand it was your hand that they died by. I guess that's the first step that we're going to have to go with you. I want them to see the results of their crime. That's why I get crime scene pictures. That's why I get autopsy pictures. Yeah, okay, this is what you say you did, and here's what you did. Take a good look. Look at what you did.
Willie?
No, man. No, man. No.
Willie, it's time to face up.
No, man.
It's time to face up.
No, man. No.
Willie, It's time to face up.
No, you get out of my face, man.
Willie.
Get out of my face, I'm serious, man. I'm not joking with you. Yeah, I'm fucking joking, I'm not, man.
You want to do some work here or no, Jim?
If they tell you it looked like Willie, face the truth.
It's your call, Willie. I'm not going to make you. You gotta face this reality, man.
No.
Yeah, you do. Come on. You do it? Let's get in the group. Let's get in a circle. We'll do it fast. Come on, we're back.
Do you see them as people? Did you ever see them as people?
I have been, lately.
And then why don't you see them as the people you made them?
I don't know if I can, Brody.
Well, I don't know if you can or not either, but I know you're gonna have to one day.
See, it's gonna help me.
It's gonna help you, I promise you. It's gonna hurt like hell, but it's gonna help you. You trust me, Willie? I've been working with you a long time. You trust me? You need to do this, Willie. It's time to face up.
Oh, God.
I thoroughly believe that what changes these young men is experiencing emotions. Dominic was probably the most in denial of any youth that I've worked with. It was very important to me that he knew exactly what he did, and I wanted him to be able to go through it step by step. I didn't want him to be able to tell himself forever, I don't remember. Dominic has always stated that he was blacked out for most of the killing, that he remembers 2, possibly 3 stab wounds inflicted, but none of the other ones in between. We're gonna go back to September 21st, 1994. He was probably in such a frenzy when it was happening that it was a blur. But I knew he knew what happened. Take us on that walk with you, Dominic. Feel what it felt like?
Mm-hmm. I hear it too.
What's it sound like?
I just hear the knife first go into her back. It just reminds me of like the sound it'd make like if you stabbed a watermelon, just like that. I remember hearing her scream and turn around and look at me. And I just remember I started going crazy when she started screaming. Because I just expected all I needed to do was stab her in the back. But once I did it and she turned around and started screaming and fighting me, I just remember yelling for her to shut up, and she fell on her back on the rocks and started trying to kick me. And I actually think I pushed her down.
With what?
Either my hand or the knife.
Which one was it?
Probably the knife. And she fell back, and I remember her eyes were really big.
Now, when she was fighting you, you could picture her trying to stop that.
What the man? Yeah. Blood all over. worst part of these memories feel. Figuring out my name.
Dominic! Help me!
Are you there?
I don't want to be there.
Dominic, is she looking at you at this point? Her eyes real big looking at you, Dominic.
Oh, I can hear her breath. Every time I stand there, I can hear it. I can hear her breath come out.
Her lungs were collapsing. Why didn't you want to look?
Because I don't want to see her.
If you hated her so much, why couldn't you look at her while you're stabbing her?
You're afraid that she was going to be looking at you, Dominic. Remember those big eyes, Dominic?
Go ahead and open your eyes up. Come on. He kept saying over and over, I remember her eyes. I remember her eyes. And at that point in time, I knew that he was remembering what happened, and he did not want to. And it was very important to me that he knew exactly what he did. So we made him go through it step by step, stab by stab by stab.
You owe this to your mother. Come on, you owe her. Show slowly. And what'd she do?
He's kind of looking over at me.
She looked over at you? Yeah. Look over and look him in the eye.
Dominic!
We got a reason for doing this.
I'm tired.
And then you did what?
Came over here and started stabbing her in the chest.
Down on your knee.
Stabbing her.
And her eyes are wide open.
I guess.
Show us what your face looked like and show us.
It's going like this.
Why are your eyes closed? Was she looking in you? In your eyes, Tom?
Why couldn't you look at her?
Do it the way you did it.
Like that.
Like that. All right?
After that, he was no longer in any kind of denial about the terribleness of the crime.
Wherever your mom's at, put it in your mind that she can come back here for a half hour. And you can say what you need to say to her.
Imagine in your mind that we made a deal with God to talk to your mom.
What was it that the only way you saw it was to kill me?
I didn't mean to hurt you the way I did. I wish I would have ran away or just waited. Thought things got better. Because Rick was gone. Divorce was gonna be final, and we would have moved and it would have been okay. But, I'm gonna tell you how sorry I am.
He would give up his life in a heartbeat if he could, if it would bring her back.
People that feel like I shouldn't be getting out in 4.5 years and spending, the rest of my life in prison, I have to agree with them. And that's probably what I deserved. But somebody decided that I was gonna get a second chance. So I'm taking the second chance. I'm trying to do everything I can to make sure that, I'm convinced that nothing like this is ever gonna happen again.
My biggest hope is that he can live with what he did, because it's gonna be very, very hard for him. It's gonna be hard every Mother's Day. It's gonna be hard every one of her birthdays. It's gonna be hard if he marries and has children to have to explain, well, where's your mom?
Dominic, after dinner, had picked 5 different flowers for me, wrapped a gift of tiny candle soap and sticker for me. What a precious relationship we have. I am so in love with my son, Dominic, sweet Dominic.